Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, Wealthy Investor again, and I just wanted to remind you that if you enjoy listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast, be sure to share it with your friends all across social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you enjoy hearing about success principles that inspire you, as well as interviews with some of my most successful students, I want to remind you it's right here at the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast, wherever you get your podcast. And make sure you download as much free material as you want at thewealthyinvestor.net. I'll see you there.
It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Well, hello there. It's Tyrone Jackson, and welcome back to Trading Stocks Made Easy. And in today's show, we are talking about organizing your financial life. Now, you know why we're talking about organizing your financial life? Because it is very possible that you have more wealth than you even know about. Could you imagine that? You have more wealth than you even know about. So I'm going to give you a couple of things that you should research in between this week and next week and gather some information. You just might have more financial freedom in your life and coming your way than you even know about. All right, so let's get through what it means to organize your financial life. Now, if you love listening to this show, there's a high probability you already have an E-Trade account, a Charles Schwab account, or a TD Ameritrade account. So it doesn't matter whether there's $5,000, $500,000 in your account. If you're going to not only trade and invest in the stock market, the question is, are you organized? And today, I don't mean like, hey, Tyrone, I own 600 shares of Apple and I jump in and out and I collect dividends and cover calls and all that jazz. I'm not just talking about the trading. I'm talking about what goes on behind the account. Here's what I mean. On your trading account or trading accounts, who is your beneficiary? Now, I know this is not the most upbeat topic, but wealth is a responsibility. In other words, if something should happen to you, who is going to inherit that account? You see, every time you and I make a financial move that is involving wealth or a purchase or assets, we do have to think about if something happened to us, who would immediately be able to take charge of that money in our absence. For most people, if you're married, it would be your spouse. But what if something, and I don't want to be grim here today, we just talk about responsibility, but what if something happened to both you and your spouse at the same time? Who is next in line to receive or trade for you in that trading account? See, this is a decision you need to make now before you get your $3, $4, $5 million in the trading account. And you want to update that information the first of every year. So we all know something about money. That money in and of itself, well, it's just a tool to help us live our lives comfortably. You see, we all manifest on this planet, right? So that our soul learns how to learn, grow, evolve. Most of our lessons, if Earth is about school, most of our lessons are about fear and love. So really, most of the major decisions you're making in your life, you either make them out of fear or you make them out of love. Money is just a tool because whenever we leave this plane, you won't be able to take your brokerage account and username and password with you. However, as I always like to say, if you need some money wherever you're going, you know how to log in. You get that part right. The serious part of wealth is that we take some time and we think about what's known in the financial world as bequeathment. Who would we be leaving all of that stuff to? Or if we're alive and we need people to make decisions for us, who do we trust with that information? Right? So let's say, for example, something happens to you and your spouse, and neither one of you are in the frame of mind for a 3 to 4 month period to make any decisions. Who would be selling covered calls and who would be collecting those dividend checks for you because your money in the stock market would still be making money? You need to decide that now. Now, we're about to go into a new year in just a short space in time, and you want to have your affairs in order. Because if you don't make decisions about your wealth, the state or another entity will make those decisions for you. And it's just not a lot of fun after you've built up a trading account and a group of assets to let someone else come in and go, well, here's where the money should go, or we're going to lock it up for a year in probate and no one will have access to it. If you're of sound mind and you have time, be responsible. Decide at least who your top 3 beneficiaries are on your trading account. The same thing goes if you actually have a life insurance policy. Now, there are 2 types of policies that are most common. There's something called term life, right, where you just pay a fee to the insurance company, and the amount of insurance that you're covered for never changes. You're just paying that fee out over and over to have, let's say, $250,000 in life insurance. And the question is, while you're getting your life in order, getting ready for the new year, who are your top 3 beneficiaries, right? Again, for most people, it's your spouse. But what if something happens to both you and your spouse? Don't you want to know who the next 3 people are who are going to get those funds and either live them out or help you or your loved ones manage that money, pay down debt, pay off your home, whatever it is that you want to do? Which means that while you're checking who your beneficiaries are, you should probably have a will. Now, a lot of people say, well, I only have $10,000 in the stock market, Tyrone. Do I need a will? Yeah, it's probably really smart. Because the wealthy use tools like life insurance, term policies, and hold policies, as well as brokerage accounts, to make life better for the next generation. And by the way, before I forget, the other type of life insurance is called a whole life policy. Now, you got to remember, I'm a stock market trader, so you need to talk to a real professional when it comes to wealth planning. But I want to tell you the difference. If I were, let's say, in my 40s, and I didn't have a lot of money in assets, but I want to make sure my family is covered, I can go get a term policy for, let's say, $250,000. It may only cost me $50 a month. That $50 a month goes to the insurance company. The size or the payout of that policy, $250,000, $200,000, it'll never change. But what am I paying for with that monthly premium being deducted from my checking account these days? I'm paying for the security so that if anything ever happened to me, I know my loved ones would get the $200,000 and $250,000. What do you do with that money? Well, somebody can pay off the house. If there are any loans, credit cards, if cars need to be paid off, the people who you are leaving things to, they have cash to live a better life and to pay off debt, maybe even your home. Now, with a whole life policy, you actually build up equity, right? So if I get a whole life policy, it could be what they call a 10, 15, or 20-year self-pay policy, meaning I'm going to pay a little bit more for this insurance policy, maybe $200 a month, but I'm building up equity. The value of that policy may start at $200,000, $250,000, but because I'm paying in over time, over 20 years, maybe the value of that policy is going to be $300,000 or $400,000 because my monthly payments build equity, right? Now, they say life insurance makes terrible long-term investments, but if you're thinking about the future, because all investing is about the future prices of things, if you have a whole policy, maybe you have a 15-year policy that after 15 years, you don't have to pay into it anymore. Well, what happens very often with these whole life policies is you forget you have them after you're done paying, and nobody knows that this policy exists. This is why you need a will, right? Because a will sets the stage for the future generations. It's a track record. It's a listing of where all of your assets are held by a law firm, an attorney, someone outside of yourself. The thing about a whole policy is even after you stop paying, its value can still rise. So term policy, just so you have something, term is always cheaper. Whole policy, something where you're building assets along with your stock market brokerage account, and you need to leave a paper trail in the form of a will as to where all this stuff is. Up next is Social Security. Now, I recently did this, And I turned a number of my friends onto it, and it's just a great exercise. Did you know that you can go to the Social Security Administration online, open an account there with a username and password? They'll ask you for your birth date. They'll ask you for your Social Security number, intimate things that only you would know. And you could find out right now how much money you will receive at retirement based on how much money you've already paid in to Social Security. Remember, a Social Security payment comes automatically out of your paycheck. So you're contributing, as well as your employer, to Social Security payments for when you get older every single paycheck that you receive. Now, if you're one of these people that earn six figures and above, you actually cap out on Social Security. There's a point where you simply can't pay in anymore in the year, and then starting the next year, there's like a reset. But I'm highly suggesting that you go to Social Security Administration after you listen to this show, of course. Stay with me till the end. And put in your username and password, your date of birth, and see how much money is there. That's why I'm calling this show You May Have More Wealth Than You Actually Know, because if you, your spouse, your partner have both been paying into Social Security at age 65, 67, and above, you may have a sizable payment coming into you based on your earnings. Okay? So wealth is not just the money that you're working for that you move aside into a checking, savings, or online trading account. It's the accumulation of all this financial data that you have. And you need to know what is there in your life right now. First for you, then for your spouse. So this is something that you do, checking on all of your assets for you first and your spouse second. The reason that this is really important, because it's not only a part of your financial education, it's also part of your day-to-day financial peace of mind. Back in a moment.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't understand how to write covered calls for monthly income? No problem. Simply review Tyrone's latest stock trades in our video library as many times as you need. WITradeschool.com is all about helping you get the financial education you need to earn money in the stock market and change your financial life. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, Wealthy Investor again, and I just wanted to remind you that if you enjoy listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast, be sure to share it with your friends all across social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you enjoy hearing about success principles that inspire you, as well as interviews with some of my most successful students, I want to remind you it's right here at the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast, wherever you get your podcast. And make sure you download as much free material as you want at thewealthyinvestor.net. I'll see you there. And we're back. Make sure you join me at thewealthyinvestor.net. I just uploaded my free ebook of the stocks that I think are hot for the next 52 weeks. Make sure you get that. Okay, on today's show, we're talking about what? Kind of organizing our financial life, because we may actually have more wealth than we thought. More excess dollars lying around in places that we didn't know of. So we want to make sure, since we're coming up on a brand new year, that we are organized. Now, why do I want you to, take a couple of hours and organize things? Because life can get weighty, right? It can get busy, right? And we want to have peace of mind about our financial life. So if we can just gather all the pieces of the puzzle together, you'll be surprised at how many assets that you have, and that'll help you on a day-to-day basis to move forward in the next 52 weeks with peace of mind. Or at least an indication of, hey, look at how much money I have if something happened to me, if I had to tap into it, right? Because I really want you to live a life that is calmer financially. Not just relying on stocks, but that's overall in a positive direction. Now, don't be afraid to give yourself some credit for taking a couple of hours and, marshaling all of your financial resources into, a couple of documents you can download and planning for a will. You should be proud of that, because that's the payoff for your financial education, is that peace of mind figure. I find that most people who take a day or so and find out everything that they actually own, if they do it on a Saturday, their Monday is better. It is calmer. It is nicer because you can realize essentially as you're getting older, you're getting wealthier. Now, here's another one that I'm going to ask you to take some time and take a peek at. It's your 401k. Some of you have a 401k. You don't know where it is. You don't know how to log into it. You don't know how well it's doing. You don't know how much money you're actually putting in. You just know that your company actually matches you. Well, wealth is also a responsibility. We talk a lot on the show about like the lifestyle and residual income, but there's also a responsibility element, which is you need to know what's in your 401k. Where is it allocated? Suppose that fund administrator is buying things that you're against just in principle, right? If they were investing in diamonds on another continent and you knew that they were exploiting people by doing that, maybe you don't want your retirement dollars there. But you just can't say, I have a 401k and someday I'll figure it all out. You know why? Because someday is today. Now, you do everything for you first, not because you're selfish. You just want to see what your financial life looks like, and then you can put that up against your spouse or partner's life. Then you guys could actually do some planning. They say 3 things that couples fight about is sex, money, and of course the temperature at night, right? Yeah, I like it cold. You like it hot. Hey, listen, I can't always help you solve the thing with the temperature, but I can help you at least develop some skill sets and some tools that give both you and your partner a more comfortable life. So maybe you're married to someone who's like, you just do it all and get back to me. That's cool. But somebody in that marriage deserves peace of mind. Now, what I have found is when you have all of these elements together, you can actually create a financial plan. And the financial plan starts with 2 words. And those 2 words are, what if? Hey, what if we put, $500 into that TD Ameritrade account every month and we bought Apple and IBM stock? Like, where would we be next year? What if we put our income tax refund into our brokerage account and we just bought Dow stocks? Would we be better off a year or 2 from now? What if? What if we had a term policy and a whole life policy? Or what if we actually found out that our whole life is doing really well? Would we drop the term policy? Yes, because the money that you're spending on the term policy, which is coming out of your account automatically, can now go into your trading account. You see, what's happening is when you get organized financially, you can make better financial choices about your future. Now, what's the chief reason I want you to organize your life? Just take a day and organize your financial life, because you cannot pass on an education or skill set that you don't have. If you're in the habit of doing this once a year, organizing your financial life, you're going to pass that same knowledge on to your kids. They're going to pass it on to their grandkids. I know a lot of people like to complain about rich people. Oh, man, it just goes from generation to generation to generation, all of that wealth. Yeah, but all of those positive habits can be passed on from one generation to the next. Does that make sense? Right. So because you listen to this show and you spend this time with me on a regular basis, your whole family can benefit. In fact, at the next family reunion, why don't you give a 20-minute talk on organizing your financial life to your entire family? Or at least those people who want to show up in the basement for a 20-minute talk. Imagine the inspiration you could be if you adapted these tools. Not only could your life be better, you could also be helping other people who are in your family who you love. I'm not telling you should start managing everybody's money. That's not what it's about at all. But what it is about is wealth is a series of positive habits that in this case can get passed on from one generation to the next. I never really initially thought of myself as a financial guru. I thought of myself as a guy who really loves to trade and invest in the stock market. But my 2 daughters know what? They know what an online brokerage account is. They understand what the Dow is. They understand what a dividend is. They understand the payouts that come on a quarterly basis of dividend checks. That didn't happen by magic. It's because in their early teens, I'm constantly pumping that information into them. So when they graduate from college, I say, hey, where's your brokerage account? How much did you earn in dividends? Right? Because if I expect that of them, they expect wealth from the world. Very powerful concept, right? So all I'm asking is that you do your part for you first, your spouse second, and then for your family third. You'd be surprised. This doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't require you to not go to the gym tomorrow. It just requires in your consciousness, you make space for a bigger and better financial life. Now, you deserve a bigger and better financial life, but it's going to be harder to achieve it if you're not organized when it comes to money, wealth, and assets. You can do it. The steps to getting organized are completely and totally free. It doesn't cost you anything to keep track of what you have and your assets, the value of your home, equity, etc., etc. Do yourself a favor. Engage in some positive financial habits within the next 30 days and watch how good you feel inside, watch how much peace of mind you develop, and watch your positive influence on the people that you love and care about. This is Tyrone Jackson saying I'll see you next week right here. Where? On the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. I'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.